Hi there. One of the standard files that's out there is a CSV, a comma-separated value file. It's basically a modified version of a text file. Let's talk about how to bring that CSV file into ArcGIS Online so I can map the coordinates that are inside my CSV file. Why would I want to do that, and how do I do that? Let's chat about that and demonstrate how easy and powerful it is to do just that.
In another video, I spoke about and demonstrated how to drag and drop some data and maps into ArcGIS Online, which is accessible via arcgis.com. In this video, let's chat about the next step, what you might do with an even more powerful tool at the bottom of ArcGIS Online, right here, called ArcGIS Explorer Online. ArcGIS Explorer Online gives us all the capabilities that we had in ArcGIS Online, but it also has some additional tools and functions that make it even more powerful for education. Let's select New Map. Let's resume the problem that I was addressing in the other video. Namely, let's go ahead and map the March 2011 earthquakes, which should allow us to investigate more fully and deeply the earthquakes off of the Japanese coast. ArcGIS Explorer Online lets us drag and drop a zipped shapefile. As you probably know, a shapefile is a GIS compatible file containing locational and attribute information. Here is my zipped shapefile that I'd like to bring up. Let me just show you what it looks like inside. Here's what these files look like inside my zip file. I've got a shapefile that contains all of the locational information that I need, the XY coordinates, the shapes, and then I also have a DBF which contains the attribute information for those shapes, and then a couple of other things, these SBN, SBX, and SHX files. Think of those as the S part of GIS, linking your G part to your I part of GIS. Finally, I have a projection file associated with this data set as well. Let's go ahead and drag that zipped shapefile up to ArcGIS Explorer Online. Okay, there are my plate boundaries that came from the zipped shapefile. There's just one more piece of information that I'd like to have, and that is the March 2011 earthquakes. The USGS Earthquake Center in Golden, Colorado has a link for the global earthquake search. If I use that tool, I can go ahead and scroll down, and inside there, as you can see, I've got some optional search parameters. First of all, inside this tool, I can select the output format, and I'm going to select a spreadsheet format, comma delimited. Then underneath there, I'm going to leave it at the USGS historical data set. My output search parameters, I'm going to start with March 11, 2011, and then end with March 12, 2011. In other words, 2 days of earthquakes. I'm going to submit my search and then receive my file. Here's my file. It's got quite a few earthquakes, astounding number just for those 2 days. I've got a location, a latitude, longitude. I've got a date and a time. I also have a depth and a magnitude. There's just a little editing I need to do to this file to bring it into ArcGIS Explorer Online. I'm going to go ahead and select all the data there. Then I'm going to copy it to my clipboard. Then I'm going to fire up Notepad or any text editor, and I'm going to paste that data into there. At the bottom, I've got some things I need to take out. There's a couple of footers, and then at the top, what I need to take out is this header. Then I've got, notice I have a text string for every field of data that follows. So I have a year, a month, a day, a time. I've got these characters after time, and I really don't want those, so I'm just going to go ahead and take out those. Got a latitude, a longitude, a magnitude, a depth, and something called catalog. Excellent. All I have to do is save that, and I'm going to save it as a CSV file. I'm I'm going to call it 10 and 11 March 2011 EQ 5 and higher, because in my search on the USGS site I indicated that I only wanted earthquakes 5 and above. .csv, comma, separated value. Go ahead and save that to a location that you can remember later. And now the fun part. Here's my file, 10 and 11 March 2011, EQ 5 and higher. Drag that over to your ArcGIS Explorer Online session. It's going to upload, and it's going to give you a preview. Make sure that this is proper. Year, month, day, time, and there's other things too. Looks good to me. Import. There are my earthquakes then from the USGS 10 and 11 March. Just to verify the data, I do have a 5.1 over here in North America. But what I'm really interested in, of course, is to zoom in on these earthquakes off of Japan. Wow. This is just 2 days of earthquakes. I've reconfigured the pop-up so I can see the latitude, longitude, magnitude, and depth. And I've clicked on the magnitude 9 earthquake from March 11. It's at a depth of 29 kilometers. I can see the coastline over here. This is the one that triggered the tsunami. All these other ones are foreshocks and aftershocks occurring, as we have seen, on the 2 days before and after the big one. Mostly after, as we'll see. This is the one that caused all of that damage. We've got some other capabilities here inside ArcGIS Explorer Online, one of which is that we can measure the distance between that earthquake and the coast. So let's go ahead and click on the Measure tool. It looks like it was about 120 kilometers from that earthquake to Sendai. About 80 kilometers to this part of the coast, but 120 to this part of the coast. And I now have the capability of exploring my data in relationship to other data. So in this case, I'm looking at earthquake epicenters in relationship to these plate boundaries. What else happened on those 2 days? There were reports in the newspaper about other activity around the world. Does that really bear out based on the data? I can see something happening down here in Papua New Guinea, but by and large that was the most tectonically active area in the world on those 2 days, as you can see here. And that's what a GIS allows us to do, is explore the data, ask questions, measure, and analyze. Another powerful thing here is that we can save this now. Go ahead and save as, and I'm going to call it my 10 and 11 March 2011 Japan earthquakes. How about Japan and world, since we do have all above 5.0. I also have the plate boundaries. Okay, save. By the way, with this same tool we can do additional things like change the base layer. I'm really interested in looking at the coastline right there, so I'm going to change it to a Bing Maps aerial. Now I can see what that coastline looks like. So this is just one of many things that we can do inside ArcGIS Explorer Online. Once we've got that data mapped, we can change the base layer. We can look at other things with the Add Content button. This is just an introduction to the many things that we can actually do here. One interesting thing that others have pointed out is that some of these coastal areas that had barrier islands offshore, actually did not suffer quite as much as areas with no barrier islands. Again, pointing to the importance of barrier islands to protect the coast. If I click on Details, there's one last thing. We really need to share this. So I'm going to go ahead and share this with everyone. And now you too will be able to look at this map that I've created. 10 and 11 March 2011, Japan and world earthquakes with plate boundaries. Excellent. I don't like the default thumbnail image for this, so I think what I'm going to do is create my own. And so I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And take a little screenshot there. Okay, now I've created a little PNG file. I'm going to save that. Now I'm back to my map, and I'm going to go to Details, Description, Properties, Edit. I'm going to go ahead and browse to my location where my PNG is located, and now I've got a nice thumbnail. Move that up a little bit so you can see it, a little thumbnail. Okay, done. If I go to ArcGIS Online now, if I search for 10 and 11 March, Japan, aha, there's my 10 and 11 March 2011 Japan and world earthquakes with plate boundaries. I can go ahead and open that in Explorer Online. What's more important though is that you could open it up in Explorer Online and see exactly what I'm seeing right now, which is that map that we just created, and it's going to go ahead and load that map, and there it is. I've got the full content. All those map layers are in there. Excellent. So what we've seen is that by dragging and dropping CSV files and shape files, you can start to build some rich content. And from that rich content, you can generate a whole series of geographic questions that you can explore and analyze. And that might lead to new questions. And that's really the essence of geographic inquiry with these powerful but easy to use web-based GIS tools. In this case, remember, we're in ArcGIS Explorer Online.